This is the story of Michael Harris, a tale of honor, secrets, and blood. In America, they say, "Don't poke the bear if you don't want the claws." And some men never forget an insult. Life is strange. We forgive in public. But in private, grudges fester. Some things fade with time. Others stay sharp as a knife. For some people, pride is everything, and they'll wait years for the right moment to strike. This story, too, begins with something small, but ended in cold-blooded murder. It was a bitter winter evening in Ohio. The streets were empty, and between 8 and 9 p.m., the nightmare began. I arrived with my team, wind howls, faint dog barking in distance. The house was silent. The kind of silence that makes your skin crawl. Inside, chaos. And then, the body was found. Near the barn, a man lay dead. Beside him, a blood-soaked axe. In the beam of our flashlights, I saw the corpse. Michael wore jeans, a flannel shirt, and a winter coat. A wool blanket still clung to him. On his face, 2 savage wounds, one near his temple, another slashed across his jaw, cuts on his hands, too. Signs he tried to fight back. The snow beneath him, stained red. I logged the scene, and the body was taken for autopsy. The victim's name, Michael Harris. Age, 36. Single, educated, but restless. He lived on his family property, with his mother, 2 sisters, and a brother. His younger brother, David Harris, worked the land. But Michael, he wasn't made for responsibility. He bounced between jobs in Cleveland, never stuck to one, never lasted more than a year. Neighbors said he loved company, loved being admired, quiet, but complicated. No feuds, no enemies. Yet here he was, dead in the snow. That night was freezing. Most families stayed inside, warming by the fire. The question burned in my mind. Why was Michael outside? And more importantly, who was with him? His family told me. The back door was wide open. Did the killer sneak in, or did Michael step out? To meet someone. Pause. Music tightens. I began the questioning. First, his mother, Margaret, mid-50s, strong woman, but now, shattered. Through tears, she spoke. Michael had eaten late that night. He loved stew, and she had cooked it, just the way he liked. She said, "Michael never asked for much. Whatever was on the table, he ate. But tonight, he seemed different. He smiled and said, 'Mom, this is the best meal you've made in years.' After dinner, he read a book, then stepped outside and never came back. That night, they heard noises, something crunching, movement outside. At first, they thought it was raccoons, but David grabbed a flashlight and ran out. The back door was open, and there, they saw it. Michael's body, lifeless in the snow. Music shifts darker. His mother cried. "He had no enemies," she said. "Ask anyone. My son was good. He wouldn't hurt a soul." But when pressed, she hesitated. Then whispered, "Maybe there was a woman." Pause. Dramatic silence. Was this murder? About love? I called David Harris. A strong man. Broad-shouldered. Farmer's hands. I spoke gently. "Your brother's death grieves me. But for you, it must be unbearable. Now tell me, what did you see?" He explained. He ran out first, flashlight in hand. At first, he thought, someone was stealing cattle. But then, he froze. Michael lay dead in the snow. I asked him to show me the exact spot he stood. From there, The body wasn't even visible. Impossible. He couldn't have seen it. Was David lying or hiding something? I pressed again. Who could have killed Michael? He said quietly. Michael didn't have enemies, but in this world, even a kind man makes someone jealous. Music pauses briefly. Property. That was another motive, but David denied any dispute. He claimed Michael never wanted his share. I asked if Michael often sat outside at night. David dodged the question. Instead, he showed me Michael's room. A bed, a desk, a few chairs, books on philosophy and poetry, the bed untouched, blankets neatly folded. Then I spoke to David's wife, Karen, and his sister, Nancy. Both wept, but neither admitted hearing any sound that night. Only David claimed he did. Only David found the body. Was he the grieving brother or the killer? Then, a new lead. A neighbor said, before the noise, he saw a woman hurrying down the street. Woman? Who was she? I questioned a local man, Frank Wilson. He chuckled bitterly. She's trouble. Married twice. Got 2 kids. Still out there. Looking for another man. He hinted. Michael wanted to marry her, but something went wrong. Was this woman the key to the murder? Music builds suspense. I went to her house, knocked on the door. Her mother answered, cold, defensive. When I asked for Sharon, she snapped, "She's not home. And what business do you have with my daughter? We're decent people. Don't drag her into this mess." But I knew she was hiding something, and the mystery was just beginning. He said, if that man had dared to say this in front of me, in his old age, I would have shown him what real shame feels like. No one, I repeat, no one, has the right to stare at someone else's daughter or wife. Respect is earned. And in America, we say, you don't spit in the wind and you don't mess with another man's family. Even walking down the street felt like a sin. A heavy silence spread. I told the girl softly, don't make too much noise. Your respect is in your own hands. But rumors travel fast. Whispers, accusations, a woman refusing even to give her uncle's address. So I asked myself, should I go to the neighbors? Should I find the truth on my own? Later, I met his friends, relatives, and they spoke, not of gossip, but of murder. As for Robert Harris, everyone agreed. He was a soft-natured man, a cheerful soul, the kind of person who brightened a room among his closest friends. Was David Miller, a childhood bond. They studied together, worked side by side, struggled through hard times in Chicago. David told me, Robert wasn't interested in land or easy money. He hated the idea of living off his grandfather's farm. Why? Should I eat from someone else's sweat? He said. Every man should earn his own bread. He wanted to write, to serve through words, to give meaning, not just to live, but to matter. And then, a girl entered his life. Catherine, tall, beautiful, outspoken, her words cut sharp, her presence unforgettable. Robert was drawn to her, completely. One night, at a dinner party in Robert's home, she arrived. She spoke, she laughed, she stayed long into the night, and that's when David noticed Robert's heart was no longer his own. He said, if that man had dared say such words in front of me in his old age, I'd have put him in his place. And if I didn't break his pride right then and there, then call me nothing. These people, they have no shame. They stare at other men's daughters, other men's wives, and then they defame them. Even walking the street had become a crime. That day I turned to the woman and whispered, don't make too much noise. Respect is in your own hands. But whispers kept spreading, ugly rumors. A woman refusing to share even her uncle's address. So I thought, maybe I should ask the neighbors. Maybe I should go find the truth myself. Later, in Boston, I met many of his friends, family members, and from them, I didn't hear gossip. I heard whispers of murder. As for Robert Harris, everyone said the same thing. He was kind, soft-natured, cheerful, a man people trusted. Among his closest friends was David Miller, his childhood companion. They grew up together in Chicago, graduated together, faced hard times together. David told me something Robert once said. Why should I eat from my grandfather's farm in Kansas? Why should I live off land that isn't mine? Every man should earn his own bread. Robert hated the easy life. He despised the idea of living rich and idle. He wanted to work, to write, to matter, and then she entered his life. Catherine Shaw, tall, striking, outspoken, her beauty undeniable, her mind sharper than a knife. She began visiting Robert's office, bringing stories, editing essays. Her words cut deep, and Robert was captivated. They said Robert couldn't be swayed by any woman, but Catherine was different. One evening, Robert hosted a dinner party. He invited David Miller and Catherine. At first, she refused, but later, she agreed. She came, she dined, she laughed, she lingered, and David saw it with his own eyes. Robert Harris was no longer free. His heart belonged to Catherine Shaw. Not long after, Richard Collins was seen more often at Catherine's house. People began to whisper. Did Richard regret his choices? Did he hope to bring Catherine back into his home one day? David Miller pressed Robert Harris one evening. What do you think your elder brother makes of this? Handing over his fortune to a broken philosopher like you? Robert smiled faintly. Yes, I've changed toward her. Now, she feels serious about me. David shook his head. Then don't be afraid. If she's serious, take the chance. But Robert's smile faded. No, this time, the message must come from her. If I haven't heard those words, I would have been gone long ago. David leaned in. You want her to come? To take your hand, to say, Robert, I want to marry you. I want to forget my mistakes. Robert's eyes darkened. I've been waiting years to hear that. But every love story has its risk. And sometimes, love is the most dangerous gamble. They both fell silent. Because in America we say, all is fair in love and war. Yet whispers grew. Some believed Catherine's divorce was Robert's conspiracy, that her downfall was his doing. Richard Collins himself, when I met him, looked every bit the fighter. Tall, strong, mustache bristling. A man who walked like a wrestler. His office sat near the Detroit bus stand. A small room, old wooden chairs, a single cot in the corner, a few broken tires and discarded parts scattered around. Richard stood, shook my hand, and pulled out a chair. Detective Donovan, welcome. Today must be my lucky day. He barked at a boy in the hall. Bring milk. Or better yet, sweet tea for the detective, and some fresh pie. I raised a hand. No need for formality, Mr. Collins. I'm here for answers. About Robert Harris's murder. The smile slipped from his face. Detective, someone's given you wrong information. I had nothing to do with that. Rumors claimed he divorced. His wife because of her. I pressed him. He grew nervous. Finally, he leaned closer. Come with me. I'll show you the truth. At his home, he pulled out a locked drawer. Inside, a folded paper. A birth certificate. It was old, issued years, ago, and on it, the name Catherine Shaw. The child listed was Jamil, born in Boston General Hospital. To Catherine, Richard's voice cracked. When I married her, she told me this boy was her nephew. that his mother had died. She raised him as her own. He paused. But then, the truth came out. He wasn't her nephew. He was her son. Richard's hands trembled. If she had told me the truth, Detective, I would have accepted him. But a marriage built on lies cannot stand. He stared at the certificate. Robert brought me this proof. And I divorced her. Silence filled the room. Only the creak of the old ceiling fan above us. Then Richard muttered, Catherine still saw Robert. Even after the divorce, she couldn't let go. And maybe neither could he, I asked, him firmly. Where were you on the night of February 3rd between 8 and 9 p.m.? He hesitated, then said, I was in Boston, repairing one of my buses. I have the receipt. But when he searched his cupboard, no receipt, only dust. His voice grew defensive. You're doubting me, Detective, without reason. I had nothing to do with Robert's death. Maybe. But something in his eyes told me Richard Collins was hiding more than just paperwork. The romantic glow that once filled Catherine's room had vanished. Her angelic face now bore shame, her lips trembling from defeat. I looked at her softly. Maybe you were right, I said. After raising a family, maybe then I'll leave. I paused, then added, I had to come. People keep whispering about you and Robert Harris. And you know, people here love to talk nonsense. Martha Shaw's voice cut in sharply. Detective, Robert thrived on deceiving others. I knew his temperament. He enjoyed playing with people's honor. I leaned closer. I asked you to speak plainly. Sometimes the truth hides behind polite masks, but sooner or later, the mask slips. Catherine shifted uncomfortably. Yes, Robert was a man of strong opinions. He once led the workers' association here. But that was years ago. Back then, I too was drawn into it. She hesitated. It was important for women to keep that fire alive, but it was never easy, I pressed. Wasn't Robert against you? Against your choices? Catherine nodded slowly. He was kind, yes, but harsh. His views weighed on everyone. He believed even taking a share of his family property was a sin. He built his world with his own two hands. Martha scoffed. And, in the end, he was just a dreamer, useless, refused to accept anyone's help, even from family. I studied Catherine carefully. People say he didn't marry because of you. Tears welled in her eyes. Who am I to be worth such loyalty? The silence in that room grew heavy, like a courtroom where no jury speaks. Martha shook her head and pushed Catherine away from the moment. Every person chases something. Some chase wealth, some chase love, but rarely do they get both. When Martha left the room, Catherine leaned close. Her hair brushed against my shoulder as she poured tea. Temptation lingered in the air, but I pushed it aside. Duty came first. I confronted her gently. Catherine, did you meet Robert on the evening of February 3rd? Her hands shook. She looked away. I don't want to be dragged into this. Please don't make me a witness. I leaned forward, my tone firm. Truth is like the sun. You can shut it out for a time, but it ain't going away. Tell me everything. Finally, she whispered. Yes, I went. Robert had called me to his mansion. We spoke in the courtyard, when suddenly Richard Collins jumped the wall. He carried an axe. Her voice trembled. I panicked. I ran. I don't know what happened after that, but her story cracked when I pressed her about her wound. First, she said it came from a kitchen knife. Then she claimed she slipped and cut herself on an iron rod. 2 lies, both thin as paper. Dr. Aslam confirmed it. That wound wasn't from cutting vegetables. It was deep, forceful, a strike, not an accident. The evidence piled up against Catherine Shaw. Witnesses saw her leaving Robert's mansion at 8:30 p.m. Her alibis contradicted each other. Her wounds betrayed her story. When I pushed harder, she broke. At last, she confessed what happened. On February 3rd, Catherine finally told Robert what he had waited years to hear. Robert, I am ready to marry you. I've made mistakes, but now I want you. For a heartbeat, Robert stood silent. Then, to her surprise, he shook his head. I'm happy you've said this, but I cannot marry you. Her face went pale. Why, Robert? After everything? His voice was calm but heavy. Because love built on lies is no love at all. You were never mine, Catherine. You belonged to another first, and I refuse to be your last resort. Her pride shattered. Her heart turned to fire, and in that fire, Robert Harris met his end. Catherine Shaw was arrested. The court sentenced her to life imprisonment. On appeal, her sentence was reduced to 10 years, but guilt is a longer sentence than any prison.